SMMA isn't dead. You're just doing it wrong. And in this video, I'm going to show you that this isn't cap. And by the end of it, I promise you'll go, oh, of course, I haven't been able to get results. I've been doing it wrong this entire time. Because trust me, it wasn't until I realized this that I get results like hitting my first $10,000 month just 60 days after having this realization, and hitting my first $20,000 month just 90 days after starting my agency, or making $59,000 in 30 days at 18 years old. Plus all the others that I've told this to, such as Adam, who hit his first $10,000 month within 3 months of starting his agency and being able to quit his 9-to-5 job, or Rashawn, who did this and within 10 days he made $1,000 US. So yeah, this is the only video that you'll need to watch, and you'll finally figure out how to finally win with SMMA. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Now, social media marketing as a whole breaks down into 3 parts. And part 1 is the old way of doing SMMA. Back in 2020, 2021, when Tai Lopez was on the rise and social media marketing as a whole as an online business started to gain popularity, and many even call Tai Lopez the godfather of SMMA because he's really what made it so popular. But soon after that, Jason Capital started to explode, which is the person who I actually bought a course from, and he's probably the one that introduced me to social media marketing. But the problem was, it was already too late. Social media marketing as a business on paper is absolutely great. And to simply break it down for you guys, it's when you're somewhat of a middleman. There is an ultimate client that wants you to advertise their services on social media, and they pay you, let's say, $1,000. You're the middleman, so you take these $1,000 and you send $100 to a person in India or in the Philippines who's willing to do the work for you, to run the Facebook ads, run the Google ads, or whatever the work is, and you keep 90% of the money. Now, the problem with that is, in 2020, it might have worked, because no one was really running Facebook or Instagram ads, let alone no one even knew what they even were. So no matter what ad you ran, it was going to perform because there was no competition, and the cost of Facebook ads were minuscule compared to what they are now. Now, the main problem with this is people are still trying to run SMA like it was being ran in 2020, 2021 by Tai Lopez and by Jason Capital, with this outdated method of outsourcing their work to a guy in India or in the Philippines and depending on them to make a good ad so the client can be satisfied. Now, the problem with that way of running SMA is that the main gurus that are teaching it haven't been running a social media marketing agency for over 4 or 5 years now. Now, don't get me wrong, they are absolute marketing geniuses. The only problem is those guys have made more money from selling SMMA courses than they have actually made from running a social media marketing agency, because they used to do it over 4 or 5 years ago, and they're teaching the tactics and systems that they used over half a decade ago that no longer apply in 2024 because of how popular the business model has gone. Now, let's dive into part 2 of social media marketing, which is still going to this day. And I like to call this era the Iman Gadzhi era. If you're watching this video right now, odds are you've probably heard of Iman Gadzhi. He's absolutely blown up over the last 2 or 3 years, and for good reason. He's an absolute marketing genius. And as a result, social media marketing as a business model has absolutely skyrocketed to the point where every other 50-year-old kid that you see has ran a social media marketing agency. Now, the problem is he closed down his SMMA agency over 2 years ago. And on paper, what he teaches in his courses are very, very similar to what Tai Lopez and Jason Capital teach. A client pays you $1,000 for whatever advertising service, and then you outsource that work to a person in India where you pay them $100. Now, here's the problem with that, because I used to run a social media marketing agency just like how Iman Gadzhi taught me. The problem is it's not sustainable. Yes, this client can pay you $1,000 and then you outsource that work, but this contractor, you've never met him in your life. You don't know if we'll get the results or not. And over 90% of the contractors you find tend to be terrible. So they don't get results for your clients, and as a result, your client asks for a refund. Some of them don't even ask for a refund. They just charge back their money. They call the bank, they say, hey, they didn't fulfill their promise, I want my money back. Therefore, not only are you down $1,000, but you've also paid the contractor the initial money, so you're now in the hole and you're negative. Now, here's the problem with running an SMA with how Iman Gadzhi teaches. Iman has over 4 million subscribers on YouTube. Every other kid that you meet is doing exactly what he tells them to do in his course. They send cold DMs, they make these crazy guarantees, and they charge $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 up front. And I was one of those kids, following the advice that Iman Gadzhi's course gave me. That was in fact recorded over 2 or 3 years ago, and I soon realized that it was no longer applicable to me in 2024. The problem is, every other kid in his course is doing exactly that. I didn't realize it at the time, but how was it going to stand out? I was an absolute white sheep. My niche was online fitness coaches. So if an online fitness coach got 100 DMs, all from SMMA owners, all saying the exact same thing, because that's what the course told us to do, why would someone reply specifically to me? Why would someone pay me over all these other people that are doing exactly what I do. And the question was, how do I stand out? Because the way I'm doing it right now, I'm blending in. And that was the big problem. The tactics that he taught no longer worked in 2024, which is exactly why he closed down his social media marketing agency over 2 years ago, because he realized that the majority of his money was actually coming from teaching other people how to run a social media marketing agency. And the big key factor is that he had an affiliate scheme within his agency program, which is where a large proportion of his money actually came in from, where he would tell his students to tell other people to join their program, and as a result, they would get a big commission out of that, which is how he actually blew up his agency program over the last 2-3 years with his affiliate scheme, not really from teaching you valuable information, but from just using his big name and his big brand as a way of getting you to buy his agency program. So running a social media marketing agency in 2024 with the way that Iman Gadzhi tells you to do it will not work. Not only because of the number of copycat agencies there is out there that are doing exactly what he's telling them to do in his course, but also because outsourcing your work to a VA in the Philippines that you pay $3 an hour no longer works because it is unsustainable. And part number 3, the new way, the rebirth of SMMA, which I like to call a reinvented agency, which is just taking advantage of the oversaturated SMMA market by doing the exact opposite of what everyone else is being told to do, which is exactly what I did at 16 years old and scaled my reinvented agency to $10,000 a month within 60 days of starting, all because I knew what not to do. By this point, I had bought all these courses from Iman Gadzhi, from Joel Kaplan, from Jason Capital, and I knew exactly what they were telling their students to do, which on the surface level, it was the exact same thing. So start doing the exact opposite. No cold DMs, no crazy guarantees, and no charging money up front. Providing goodwill, providing value up front to build relationships, so then clients start chasing you. You being the black sheep. When everyone else takes the blue pill, you take the red pill. Let me use the same example I used. My niche was online fitness coaches. So 100,000 people reaching out to one online fitness coach, all saying the exact same thing with the exact same offer, because they're all buying these courses from these big gurus and running an SMMA with the old way of doing it, compared to me, this reinvented agency, saying the exact opposite. So it's 1 against 100,000 people. Who do you think this fitness coach is actually going to reply to? Obviously me. It's exactly how I was able to make $59,000 in 30 days by just having messages on my phone on Instagram, because I knew what not to say. I knew what everyone else was saying, so I just said the exact opposite. Now that got me the initial reply, but I had to stand out even further. And the next step was not asking for a single dime up front, providing value, providing goodwill, but more importantly, leading with my results first. By this point, in 2024, all of these clients know how bad of a name marketing agencies have, which is why none of them trust them anymore. So you're not gonna get paid $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 up front, which is where a reinvented agency comes in. You lead with results first. I work with them for free for 7 days, get them amazing results. So by the end of the 7 days, they can no longer imagine running their business without me running their ads. Now, after those 7 days, not only are they gonna sign on as a client with me for a monthly retainer at $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month, but they're also gonna give me referrals, because I clarified that before I even started working with them for free. I tell them, hey, I'm gonna get you 10 sales calls in the next 7 days, but once I do that, you yourself can sign on, but all I ask for is for 2-3 referrals. And it's an absolute no-brainer deal. Me being so different from everyone else, they have no reason to say no. What do they lose if this doesn't work out? All the work is on me, which is absolutely unheard of in 2024, especially with all these marketing agencies out there that are following the old way of doing SMMA. So if you're watching this video right now and you want to get one thing out of it, please let it be this. Moving forward, only listen to people who are actively doing what you ultimately want to do. No matter how good Tai Lopez, Jason Capital, and Iman Gadzhi are at marketing, it doesn't make sense to get SMA advice for them. They no longer run a social media marketing agency, and you know it better than anyone else. Things move very, very fast in this industry. What worked 1 year ago no longer works now, let alone what worked 4 years ago. People see what works and what doesn't work, and they catch up very, very fast, which is why it's absolutely crucial to be ahead of the curve, which is why a reinvented agency is the absolute best way to hit your first $10,000 a month, because of how saturated the SMMA space is. We know what everyone else is doing. Just be different and take advantage of it. So that's how you can finally win with social media marketing. You have to do it the reverse agency way if you really want to succeed. But if you want to know how I made $85,757 in 49 days at 18 years old by just typing messages on Instagram so you can copy me, go ahead and click on the video that's about to pop up right now, and I'll see you in the next one.